Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, MOED KATAN, Daf Yotes. We begin at the Mishnah, which is on Yud Chesamot Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. Ein koisvin shtori chayv b'moed. One is not meant to write a loan document on chayv b'moed. Ksiva is a malacha, and unless it's needed for moed itself, there's no heter to write a loan document. However, suppose the lender doesn't trust the borrower. I can't give you the money unless I have some sort of written receipt. Or the sefer, the scribe himself, needs money for Yom Tov expenditures. In both these cases, we say Hareza Yichtav, you can actually write the Shtar Chayv. In the first case, it's Davar Ha'avid. He needs to secure his loan. In the second case, it's the Tzarech Yom Tov. Continues the Tanakama. Ein kois fin svarim tefillin or mezuzah b'moed. Nor can one write even a mitzvah item, a sefer Torah tefillin or mezuzah, provided he doesn't need it for chalav bayid. Ve'in magin is achas. One may not even edit, fix up one letter. Afilu b'sefer Ezra, even that special sefer Torah written by Ezra HaSefer, or according to another Gerson Rashi, sefer Azorah, ending with a hey, the one placed in the Azorah, used as a reference for other sefer Torah. Very important sefer Torah that couldn't be fixed and corrected on Moed itself. Let's see Rashi. 9 lines from the bottom. Afilu b'sefer Ezra. Sefer Torah shel Ezra. Vani shamati. Rashi has another pshat. Azora behei. Upirush. Either way, we're speaking about a sefer muga hoya ba'azara. There was a special sefer Torah, a properly written sefer Torah, and an authoritative one. Shemimenu hayumagin kol sefer goyla was used as a reference to the other sefer Torah. So even such an important sefer Torah cannot be attended to during Chol HaMoed, because you can just fix it later after the Moed. Rabbi Yehuda Omer continues the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda Omer kosev adam tefillin u'mezuzos la'atzmai. Since writing tefillin and mezuzos are considered a mitzvah, it's a masa mitzvah, it's mutar, even if it's a meleches uman, a professional job, you can do it, provided it's for your own personal use. You're not doing it in a commercial manner, Rashi says, because derech sechirus is chashiv malacha, doing it as a job for somebody else, doing it for pay, because of chashivas, makes it look like a job, which is inappropriate for Chol HaMoed. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, for personal use, and the Mepharshim say, even if it's going to use the tefillin right after Yom Tov, that's also considered personal, and that allows it to be done on Chol HaMoed. So even if it's not for Moed use itself, but to prepare it for post-Moed use, that is mutter. Rabbi Yehuda continues, V'toivel yireichoi, tchelis l'tzitzisai. You can go ahead and spin the tchelis threads for the tzitzis, provided he does it a bit differently than the usual. He'll roll it on his thigh, meaning he'll do it manually. So it's a derech shinoi, as opposed to the way it's done usually. Rashi says using a pelech, some sort of tool. That's derech chayil. So as long as you deviate, it is mutter. Taisus asks, why doesn't Rabbi Yehuda require shinoi when it comes to tefillin and mezuzah? He says there is no shinoi possible because you have to do it properly. You must write those letters clearly and properly. So the shinoi requirement is only inserted by the tcheles as opposed to the tefillin and mezuzahs. Tanarabban, kosev adam tefillin and mezuzahs la'atzmai. So one may write these things for personal use. V'toivel yireichoi tcheles l'tzitzisoi. Likewise, when it comes to the tcheles wool for the tzitzis, you can do that. Ula'acherim b'toiva. According to Rav Meir, not only may he do these things for himself, he can actually do it as a favor. He can do it for other people as a favor, b'toiva, without getting paid. This is very similar to Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah. Right? You can engage in doing malachos for the sake of mitzvah. So apparently, since it's a mitzvah occupation, a mitzvah item, it assumes special status, which allows even a ma'aseh uman, as long as he's not getting paid for it. Rabbi Yehuda adds a kula. Rabbi Yehuda marim, you can actually pretend. Meaning, he'd like to make a living. So you can't hire yourself out outright. That's inappropriate for Chol HaMoed. So what do? You go ahead and you sell yours. You sell your pair of tefillin, you sell your tzitzis, and now you're short a tefillin. So you sit down and you write one for yourself. Now it's for personal use. So you're not actually writing as a job. You're writing because you need a personal tefillin. You gave away, you sold yours. That's okay. So the Mepharshim say because, again, we're speaking about a mitzvah experience, mitzvah item, and therefore we have this special heter, ha'arama is mutter in this case, as long as it presents itself properly. You're not actually writing as a job, you're writing for yourself as a result of having given away your pair. Rabbi Yossi takes it a step further. Rabbi Yossi Omer, if he needs parnasa, and over here we're speaking, he's not really in dire needs of funds for Yom Tov. Rashi says, Baharavacha, a little extra, a cushion space, a little extra spending money for Yom Tov, that allows him to sit down and write a tefillin and a mezuzah for pay. And again, apparently because we're speaking about a mitzvah item, so both elements combine, the fact that it's for a mitzvah and the fact that it's going to help his Yom Tov experience, it's kedei parnasasa, to allow for extra expenditures, we allow it. So you have three shittas in the brisa. Personal use is okay. Rabbi Yehuda adds, ha'arama is mutar. Rabbi Yossi says, even for pay, if it's kedei parnasasa, for Yom Tov expenses, it's mutar. This is in addition to the Tanna Kama and the Mishnah, who didn't seem to allow writing any of these items in any case, unless he actually needs it for Yom Tov. Oirulei Rav Chananel. Rav Paskin to Rav Chananel. V'amrila, some say it was Rabba bar Chana who ruled to Rav Chananel. What is the halacha? Koisev amecher kedarka kedei parnasasa. We follow Rabbi Yosef's shita lekula. V'tevel yirechai tchelas atzitzisa. Tanarabanan. So you meant to be meshana a bit. Toiv adam al yirechai tchelas atzitzisa. So you can spin the tchelas threads over his leg. Avalei be'evan diver belezer. Belezer says you can't even use a stone which sort of hangs from the threads and weighs them down, allows for a proper spinning job. You must deviate, do it informally, derech shinoi. You can use a stone, because that in itself is a shinoi, as long as you're not using the proper tool, which is called a pelach. So that's the Tanna Kama's version of the machlekes. Rabbi Lezer holds no stone, chachamim yes stone. Rabbi Yehuda Mishmoi, according to Rabbi Yehuda's version of Rabbi Lezer, it's be'evan avavloi be'pelach. You can even use something, a stone, to weigh it down, to straighten it out, as long as you're not using the proper tool. Whether a stone, whether a pelach, it's mutar, no shinu is necessary. We're speaking about a mitzvah item, and therefore you can produce it on Chayil Moed. So it's either manually, either stone is mutar as well, or stone or the pelach, because it's a mitzvah experience. What is the conclusion? Bein be'evan, bein be'pelach, u'mekel. You could even use a tool to produce those threads. And when it comes to writing the Sefer Torah, Tfilim Zuz, v'alacha, kaisev kedarka, u'meicher, so you can write as usual, hire yourself out, do a job, as long as you're going to take the proceeds provided for Yom Tov expenditure. So we take the kula on all accounts. Zok the Mishnah. HaKayveres Mesu, Shloisha Yomim Kedem L'Regel, Batla Heimenu Gzeras Shiva. So we know that when there's a mace in the family, there are various phases of mourning. So we have the Shiva, we have the Shloishim. So it successively weakens and downgrades as we go along. First 3 days are the most critical. Rashi brings, it's the Ikar Avelis, Tesis brings the Gemara. Shloish Yomim Lebechi, the first 3 are meant for Bechi. So the first 3 are the highest, most critical point of the Avelis period. Then we have the next 4 days to complete the Shiva stage, throughout which he observes all the halachas of Shiva, no shoes, etc., like we discussed a few days ago. Then he moves on, he advances to the Shloishim state, right, which is more lenient, very few restrictions, no haircutting, etc., but generally speaking, the Ikar, Yimei Avelis are over. Halacha is that Regel overrides Avelis. We had this a couple of days ago. Why? Because V'samachta b'chagecha is a substantial a prominent mitzvah asay. It's a mitzvah asay the rabbim. Involves Klal Yisrael as a community, and that overrides, that supersedes, that pushes aside the Avelos, which is a personal experience. It's Avelos the Yachid. Halacha is that Regel will not only override and suspend the Avelos, but it will cancel and cut short the Avelos. It's going to be mafsik the Avelos, put an end to it, provided he's already in the midst of that experience. So let's say he's already advanced into the Shiva, and then Regel arrives, there goes the Avelos of Shiva, there's no more Shiva. But Shleishim will still have to be made up for because he hadn't yet entered the Shleishim territory when Regel arrives. So Regel only affects whatever has already been activated, whatever is already on the table. So if he's in the Shiva, Regel will cut the Shiva short. If he proceeded to the Shleishim as well, and Regel arrives, it's going to cut the Shleishim short. Says the Mishnah, if one buried his mace 3 days kodim l'regel, batla heimenu gzeras shiva. So once he advanced past 3, right? 3 is the ikar of the shiva period. At this point, he progressed enough, and when the regel comes along, it's mevatel the gzeras shiva, the gzera min hashamayim, to observe shiva. And Tosfos points out the reason why we say hakoveres mace instead of just if the mace passes away 3 days, because the Avelos begins mishas stimas hagoydel at the point of closing up the kever. That's why the Mishnah over here throughout the Gemara we're going to see this lashon koveres mace, because that triggers, that activates the Avelos. So once he's 3 days into the Shiva and the Regel shows up, Shiva is over. Shmoina, if you advance into the 8th, so it's the first day of the Shloshim, and the Regel arrives at this point. But lo heimenu gzera shleishim, shleishim is over. Why? Let's take a look at Rashi. 5 from the top. Masnisin, says Rashi, hakover es meisei shleish yom kodim l'regel. Hoil, the ikar avelus, eina ela shleish yom, the ikar of avelus is 3 days. He's already into that, he's past that. But lo heimenu gzera shiva tel achar regel, eina tzorach l'mneis yoser. Regel comes along and cuts it short. But Shloshim still applies. However, Shmoyne Yomim. If he entered the 8th day, which is pretty much the first day of the Shloshim, Koidim HaRegel, Batla Mimenu Gzera Shloshim, Shloshim now expires. The Hoyel Ve'yischol Yom Echad Na Shloshim, once he experiences 1 day of the Shloshim, Ein Etzorach Lishmar Klum Achar Regel, he no longer has to keep any Shloshim after Yom Tov. Explains Rashi, what's unique about Shloshim? What do you do during Shloshim? So Shloshim limits a person in the sense that he can't take a haircut, tasperis, and giyutz means ironing properly, tending to one's clothing, so a proper finishing of one's clothing, and that's asur. Tachpoises, some say, is actually an error in Rashi, because that's mutter past Shiva. In any case, let's take haircut, right? So haircutting is asur during Shloshim, but once the Regel arrives, Shloshim expires, you can go back to the barber. Continues the Mishnah. Why is this so? Because the Chacham taught us as follows. There's a difference between Shabbos, which is just a time of Einig, not necessarily a time of Simcha. So that doesn't interfere with the Avelos. In fact, we keep certain elements of Avelos even during Shabbos. Avelos Shabbatzina, so in Tashmish, all the halachas of Betzina still apply, as opposed to Regel, which is a time of joy and it's a festive event, and therefore it's doicha, the Regel interferes, it's inconsistent with Avelos. Amr Chazal tell us, Shabbos oileveinu afsekes. Shabbos, you encounter Shabbos during Avelos, it's oila. It actually counts as one of the Shiva, as one of the Shloshim, because it's compatible with Avelos. Ve'enim afsekes, and in fact it doesn't interfere, it doesn't cancel the Avelos. As opposed to Regolim, Mafsikin, they cancel, they cut short the Avelos. Ve'enim oila, nor do they count towards the Avelos. They're not part and parcel of the Avelos procedure. So the first element, Mafsikin, means if you already entered the Shiva, Regel comes along, it cancels the Shiva. He entered the Shloshim territory. Regel arrives, cuts it short. That's mafsikin. Ve'einin oila means like this. Suppose he doesn't qualify for a shortening of the Avelis because he buried on Yom Tov, or he only had 2 days of Shiva before Yom Tov. In any case, he doesn't qualify for mafsikin. In this case, the regel will not destroy the Shiva D'Shloshim, but nor will it count towards the Shiva D'Shloshim. Ve'einin oila doesn't count because you're not really going to be observing the halachas during Yom Tov. So 2 differences between Shabbos and Yom Tov. Yom Tov cuts it short, or even in the case where it can't cut it short, it will not count towards the Shiva, towards the Shloshim. It has to be made up after Yom Tov. Now, which Yom Tovim qualify? Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. Okay, that's clear. Actually, Pesach and Sukkot are clear. What about Shavuos? During this man, when the Mikdash was standing, we know that Shavuos was really a 7-day affair because the Karbanos can be brought even after Shavuos. We have 6 days of Hashlama, the makeup period. Right? You didn't bring your Shlamim, your Oila on Yom Tov, you can bring it the following 6 days as well. So it's a 7-day event, in which case it qualifies as a Yom Tov. But nowadays, after the Churban, Shavuos is a 1-day event and doesn't qualify. Now, the Mukhi Yosef points out, apparently, Rabbi Elazar adopted a new approach as to the reason, the basis for regel canceling Avelis. It's unrelated to Simcha because, if that's the case, it's irrelevant how long. What difference does it make if it's a 7-day affair or it's a 1-day affair? Rather than Mukhi Yosef has a chiddush, a pshat, he says like this. Why do we say regel is mavatal? Why do we say it's mafsek avelis? He says because typically a Yom Tov is 7 days. If we are to say that Yom Tov will not be mafsek the Shiva continues throughout into the Yom Tov. Now the fact is during Yom Tov you can't do anything. You can't actually observe the Shiva halachas. So by the time you finish Yom Tov, the Shiva is over. You lose your Shiva, right? Because Shiva is only 7 days, so you're going to lose it. It's going to get embedded and swallowed up in the Yom Tov. You're going to lose it. Yom Tov's over, Shiva is finished. You never really did anything for Shiva. The Chacham say, you know what? You cannot really count the regel towards the Shiva. It doesn't count for Shiva. This will ensure that if there was a Misa, a Kvura during regel, you'll go and make it up after Yom Tov. Right? Now the flip side of this halacha, says the Mukhi Yosef, is that regel is incompatible with Evel. That's basically what you're saying. Regel can't count for Avelis, incompatible with Avelis, and therefore, as a result, we also come out with the halacha that regel is mafsek Avelis. Meaning in a case where he started the Shiva before the regel, he started counting 1, 2, 3, the regel comes along, it's incompatible with Avelis, and cancels the Avelis. In any case, says the Mukhi Yosef, the answer of Elazar says it depends on how long the event is. If it's a 7-day Yom Tov, then it relates to that concern that we mentioned before, and it's incompatible with the Avelis. But nowadays, Atzeres is a 1-day affair. It's like Shabbos, in which case it's compatible with the Avelis, and it'll just carry right through the regel and continue counting afterwards. What about Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? It's a Yom Tov, but there's no V'samachta b'chagecha there. Rabban Gamliel Eimer, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippurim, Kiragal, we treat it like an ordinary Yom Tov, loy plug, we don't differentiate. A Yom Tov is a Yom Tov. V'chacham Eimrim, they take a middle route. Loy Kediver Zeh, V'loy Kediver Zeh, we're not following his Shita or his Shita, Ella, this is our opinion. Atzeres Kiragalim, even nowadays. A Shavuos, once it attained that status of a Yom Tov B'zman HaMikdash, it doesn't lose it. It's considered Kiragalim, and is Mevatel Avelis. On the other hand, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippurim, Kishabbos, they never acquired Yom Tov status. They're considered like Shabbos, and they're compatible with Avelis. Amarav, although we speak about regel being mevatel shloshim, you meant to know as follows: Gzeiras batel. The regel actually cuts the gzeira shloshim, the essence of shloshim becomes cancelled. but there's some element still maintained, still intact. Yomim lebatel. The days of Shloshim are somewhat still in place. We're going to see soon pertaining to what. V'cheinim Rav Huna, likewise says Rav Huna, Gzeras batlu. Regel is mevatel, the concept of Shloshim, but Yomim lebatlu, the 30-day period is still there. Sheshus Amar, no, afilu Yomim nami batlu. When we say regel is mafsek, is mevatel, completely, totally cancels the concept of Shloshim. So again, the Mishnah says, regel is mevatel shloshim. What does mevatel mean? Entirely? Says Rav Sheshus, or partially? Like Rav Huna and like Rav. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean? My time over here means, what exactly did you mean when you say yomim lebatel, at the days are still there? Pertaining to what? To one concept. In reality, shloshim is batel. But if he failed to take advantage of this allowance, of this opportunity to shave, to take a haircut before Yom Tov, we apply a penalty, a knas, explains Taisus. We don't allow him to do it after Yom Tov either. He has to finish his 30 days. My tami yomim lebatel. What does this mean? Shim lo gilech erev regel. If you fail to take his haircut and come into Yom Tov in a dignified manner, asur legalech achar regel. He can't take a haircut after Yom Tov. He has to wait until 30 days are over. This was meant to ensure that he comes into regel looking dignified. Vatanya, as we find in a brayso, if he had kfur 3 days prior to regel arrives, batla heimenu gzera shiva. So regel cuts shiva short. Shmoyne yamim. He's already 8 days. Shmoyne yamim kaidin l'regel. The kfur took place 8 days prior to regel. He's already entered the shloishim territory. In this case, batla heimenu gzera shloishim. Regel destroys the shloishim. Umegalech ever regel. And since the Avelos will not be active any longer during the upcoming regel, so you allow him to take a haircut even Erev Yom Tov, in honor of Yom Tov. If you fail to do so Erev Yom Tov, also legalech achar regel. He can't do so after Yom Tov until 30 days are up. Abba Shaul Eimer, mutar legalech achar regel. He could. We don't apply this knas. In any case, as Taisus explains, we have a brayso which uses the term batla himenu gzera shloishim, and the brayso clearly says that's only if you took advantage, but otherwise we apply a knas. Apparently the lashon batla means it's only mutter in this case. That's a right to Rav and Rav Huna's pshat in the Mishnah, that the word batla is limited. Abba Shaul Emer, he says, no, mutter galech achar regel. Even in this case, if he failed to be megalech before regel, he's mutter. Shekashem shemitzvah shloish vateles gzera shiva, because just as observing 3 days, the first 3 critical days of the shiva, enables bittul of gzera shiva when regel comes along at that point, kach likewise mitzvah shiva, observance of 7 days of the shiva period, and then entering the 8th day, and then regel coming, vatelas gzeras shloishim, will enable cancellation of the shloishim, which follows. Asks the Gemara. So once he's holding at day 7, and regel comes along, shloishim expires? Shiva? Vanan shmoyne tanan. Now Mishnah we learned that he needs to enter day 8, which is really the first day of shloishim, to allow regel to address the shloishim. Not 7 days, not enough. Vanan shmoyne tanan. Oh, we have machlekes tanaim, which we mentioned yesterday. When does the shloishim begin? On day 7? On day 8? Because Rabbi Shaul mitzvah sayim kekulei. Once he experiences part of the day, mitzvah sayim kekulei counts like entire day, meaning once he entered the 7th day, it's as though the 7 is over. And now he's entering day 8 as well. Day 7 counts both ways. Conclusion of the Shiva, initiation of the Shloshim. When regel arrives today, it's considered as though he's already experiencing Shloshim, and the regel can cancel the Shloshim. So our Mishnah is the Rabbanon. Shloshim only begins on day 8. The Brisa, Rabbi Shaul speaking, day 7 is sufficient. Amar Rav Chizda, Amar Ravina bar Shila, halach kabashol. In both halachas, we pass like abashol. Once he experienced 7 days before regel, it's as though he entered the shloshim domain. Regel is mevatel the shloshim. Number 2, even if he failed to take advantage of this allowance, he can still be megalech after Yom Tov. Continues the Gemara, Umaydim chachamim labashol. Even the chacham agreed to abashol in the following case. Even the chacham who don't seem to favor applying the concept of miktzas hayom kekulim when it comes to dini avelos, you have to experience full days of avelos, full days of mourning, no cutting corners. But they will agree in the following case, that we will apply miktzas hayom kekulim. In which case, k'shachal shmini shaloi liyos b'shabbos erev haregel. Day 8 of Shiva, right, first day of Shloshim, falls out on Shabbos, which happens to be erev Yom Tov. Technically, he's already in the Shloshim. The regel will come and cancel the Shloshim. Problem is, he can't shave today, it's Shabbos. In this case, we allow some leeway. We allow him to back up. Shemuta legalech be'erev Shabbos. He can shave yesterday. We had this a couple of days ago because fact is, this time around, regel will be mevatel the shloshim. Fact is, he's already having 8 days before the regel. Problem is, it's Shabbos today. In this case, Chacham will say, we'll apply miktzas hayom kekulim. Typically, we don't rush to apply miktzas hayom kekulim, but in this case, in honor of Yom Tov, to allow him a haircut l'chavit Yom Tov, a Yom Tov which will not experience avelos, a Yom Tov which will cancel avelos. So the Yom Tov is sort of beyond the reach of avelos in this case. Just as he can shave on Yom Tov, technically, right? There's no avelos on Yom Tov. We allow him to advance a bit and do it even yesterday, Erev Shabbos, despite the fact that it's only day 7. We apply mitzvah kekulai, and we treat it as though Shloshim had begun, in which case he's mutal legalech. Shemutal legalech be'erev Shabbos. Zok the Gemara, Keman Ozla Hada Amarav Amram Amarav. In accordance with whose shita was the following halacha said? Avel kiv and she'amdu menachmen me'etzlei. So on the 7th day of Shiva, once the menachmen, the consolers, get up, it could be in the morning. Once they get up, mutar b'rechitza, you can go wash. Miktzas hayom kekulim. It's as though we experienced 7 full days, even though it's still in the morning. Keman, who is this? Abashol. Apparently this is in line with Abashol shit. Keman ka Abashol. Amar Abaye, how do we do today? Halach Abashol b'yom Shiva. When it comes to Shiva, we follow Abashol shita. So even by Shiva, which is the more critical, more serious part of the Avelis, we say miktzas hayom kekulim. Moedim chachamim Abashol b'yom Shloshim. When it comes to Shloshim, even the Chacham agree, we apply miktzas hayom kekulim. Shloshim is not as severe as Shiva, less restrictions, less mourning, less halachis. Over there we can allow miktzas hayom to take effect. So on day 30, we don't need the entire day, just a bit is enough. Da'amrinan miktzas hayom kekulim. Rava Amar. He says, look, actually, nobody agrees to anybody. The machlekes between Abashol and the Rabbanan pertaining to miktzas hayom kekulim applies to Shiva, applies to Shloshim, but halacha Abashol b'yom Shloshim. When it comes to Shloshim, we allow ourselves to follow Abashol. If ein halacha Abashol b'yom Shiva, when it comes to Shiva, day 7 has to be a complete day. We don't follow Abashol in that case. But now Doy Amri, they take a more lenient approach. Halacha Abashol b'zu b'zu, whether it's day 7, whether it's day 30, a little bit counts like the entire day. Why? Why do we adopt the Shita HaMekila, Damar Shmuel, Halacha, Kedivrei HaMekel Ba'avel? When it comes to Hilchas Avelos, we adopt a lenient approach. And Taisan Erevin actually says it's not because Safek the Rabbanan L'Kula applies even to the first day of Avelos, which perhaps is Dairaisa. We have a Kabbalah, this is the way it is, a formula, Halacha, Kedivrei HaMekel Ba'avel. You didn't have to be happy when it comes to things that are sad. Avel, we are Mekel, we take the lenient approach. Continues the Gemara. We speak about Shiva, we speak about Shloshim. Shloshim Yom Minala. Where do we find the concept of allowing one's hair to grow for 30 days? An observance of Avelos. Answers the Gemara, Ya'oliv pera minas, reply Exeris Shava, using the word pera. This was the source, this was the makar of an aval refraining from a haircut. Hashem tells the brothers of Nadav Avihu, you don't allow your hair to grow long apparently. That is conventional practice for a typical aval. What is tifro? How long is that? By a nazir it says gadol pera. He meant to let his hair grow long. Gadol pera sa'aresh. And just as over there, ma'al lahal and shloishim, it's a 30-day growth. Afkan shloishim here as well. It needs to be a 30-day growth. Vasa benal. How do we know? By nazir it's 30 days. Here comes one of the better known gematrias in Shas. Amar of Masna, Stam Nazir Shloishim Yom. Typically, Naziris lasts for 30 days. My time, Amakra, Kadosh Yiyah. He's meant to be Kaddish. The word Yiyah in numerical value is Begematria Tlosan Hav. So we know Nazir is a 30-day event. Rosh Hashanah Al Tivro is referring to the Avelis of allowing one's hair to grow for 30 days. Interesting, Taisus brings a Yesh Oimrim. Some suggested that an aval can't comb his hair because just as a Nazir has to be careful in that regard, he can't shed any hair during his 30-day period, an aval as well. And Taisus negates that pshat. He doesn't agree whatsoever. By a Nazir, he has to be careful to allow keep every hair intact, but Avelis, it's all a different concept. They're similar, but they're still different. An aval is not a Nazir. Leading Avelis, says Taisus, Shum Yipui. The point is, don't be busy grooming yourself. Present as an aval, as a mourner, who's sort of disheveled, undignified. Mishum yipui loy, then this concern doesn't apply. Giving a quick comb, allowing some hair, shedding some hair, that's not considered a haircut. It's not grooming oneself. There's no concern there. The same thing regarding, Tisha B'Av, whatever. You're not grooming yourself, even if some hair is shed. Amar of Huna Breidar Vishur. Listen to this halacha. Hakol moedim. All agree, even Abba Shol agrees in the following case, that we don't say miktsas hayom kikulei. K'shachal shlishi shaloi liya is erev haregel. Day 3 of the Shiva falls at erev Yom Tov. We don't say, well, come morning, miktsas hayom kikulei, it's over, you can take a haircut. She'asa b'rechitza ad erev. You can't bathe until evening. Rashi says, I'll have to wait till Yom Tov and wash, take a cold shower, or wait till Chol HaMoed and use hot water. In any case, he has to have a full day. Regel will only come in after 3 full days of Shiva. So we're machmer if it's still within the 7 days. On day 7, when the Shiva is over practically, Abba Shol says, miktsas hayom kikulei. But if it's still within the Shiva period, for instance, this precondition, this requirement to pass through 3 days so that the regel could come and shorten the Shiva, you need 3 full proper days. Amar of Nechemia, Breidar Vishur. Ash Chatinu, I encountered the following individuals, L'Rav Papi and L'Rav Papa. The Yasvi Ka'amri, they said, I was sitting and talking, and they said, Halacha, Krav Huna, Breidar Vishur, that the first 3 days need to be full days. Igid Amri. There was another version of this event, slightly different. Amar Nechemia, Breidar Yosef, that what? Ashkichinu, I encountered L'Rav Papi, 3 individuals. L'Rav Papi, L'Rav Papa, L'Rav Huna, Breidar Vishur. So all 3 together. The Yasvi Ka'amri, they were sitting and talking and saying, HaKol Moedim all agree, Shem Chal, Shlishi Shaloi, Lias Erev Regel. The 3rd day of the Shiva falls at Erev Yom Tov. So 3 days are the critical days. That's the Yimei Bechi, as Rashi explained. So he has to get through those 3 in order for the Regel to come and cancel the Shiva. But he has to wait until the 3 days are over. She'asa b'rechitza ad ha'erev. And only then can he look after himself. Okay, so bottom line, what we learned in today's daf, we learned about doing a malacha l'tzorech mitzvah. For instance, when it comes to writing Dvarim Shebekdusha, we have 4 shitas. Tanakama doesn't allow. Rabbi Yehuda says for personal use it's mutter. According to the Brayse here, Rabbi Yehuda says even to sell it off and write another one for yourself, that's also mutter. Ha'aroma l'tzorech mitzvah is mutter. Rabbi Yossi adds, even for pay, if it's l'tzorech, added expenditures of Yom Tov. Regarding tzitzis as well, we have several shitas. Completely mutter, slight shinoi, or a more significant shinoi is required. Okay. Regel, a Yom Tov, Pesach, Sukkot, and according to the Rabbanon, even Shavuos Bizman Hazeh, is mafsik. So if he's 3 days into the Shiva, it cancels the rest of the Shiva. If he's 7 days into the Shiva, that was the conclusion of the Gemara on the Beis. So that's already considered like initiation of the Shloshim, and at that point the regel will cancel the rest of the Shloshim. However, if it doesn't qualify, if the Kvura took place during the regel, in which case there's no bittul whatsoever, the regel itself does not count for Shiva or for Shloshim, because regel is a time of Simcha and not a time of Avelis. On the other hand, Shabbos, and according to the Chachamim, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur as well, which are not days of Simcha, that's not mafsik, and it can count towards the Shiva and the Shloshim. In a case where he failed to look after himself in honor of Yom Tov, what happens then? Do we apply a knas after Yom Tov, machlekes, and we paskin l'kula? According to Abba Shaul, we say miktas yom kikulim when it comes to the 7th day of the Shiva, 30th day of the Shloshim, so it's a machlekes, and we paskin l'kula on both accounts. Within the Shiva, for instance, 3rd day of Shiva, we need a full day. We don't say miktas yom in that case. How do we know that Shloshim lasts for 30 days? We use Exer from Nazir, just as over there. The Lashon Pera refers to a 30-day growth here as well. To properly observe the Shloshim phase of Avelos, it needs to be a 30-day growth of hair. Surah Tevis and much Hatzlacha.